children with no voice in borrowed rooms, to the magazines that carry their truth. 25 years of the same steady hand, finding the ones who fell through the cracks of the plan. From Mitcham to Croydon, from London to the world, every flaggy planet said, you matter, you're hurt, but there's a man who finds you in the quiet.
Okay.
Hello.
We're
live, right?
alive, we're alive, Christina. We're alive. We're alive.
And what a topic.
Are we live?
We are.
Let me see. So I'm joining on LinkedIn. Yes, it's actually working. Okay, cool. All right. Happy days. How are you, my friend? How are you?
Hello, doing great. Thank you. I was actually excited for this topic today.
Yes, you're excited about analytics and reporting. My pet hate, and I know why we do it. I know we have to do it. Alas, let's talk about it, because I think that there's always complications in looking at numbers. Some people spend all day looking at numbers and they miss the point of their business.
Yeah, so you have to figure it out why you're looking and what you're looking at and what are you doing after you look.
Exactly that. But now, look, our friends are here, so I'm excited. I said the fact that LinkedIn's working gives me joy. Liana, we see you. Welcome. I got a laptop, so I got a smaller screen. The idea was to use a laptop for managing the event, and the laptop for me speaking, and my camera, and then use my computer to manage the event, to click and do stuff, right? But when I do that, there's a great squeal. It's a sharp noise. It's, like that horrible static noise. So I've had to turn my computer off. Then turn my computer restream off completely. So I'm gonna have to read the small screen. My eyes are not very good. I've got many glasses. I don't use any of them. Anyway, welcome, Liana. You made my day. So checking in from Duluth, Minnesota. It's a beautiful 80 degrees there. I tell you, I'm jealous. I'm not really. It can get a bit too hot, right? Is it warm in your part of the world, Christina?
It is warm. I don't think it's 80 today. Maybe in the 70s. Yeah, but it is warm.
Yeah, well, if the heat wave's over, I won't complain. But I'm sure it's going to get hotter again. I'm quite sure. Anyways, of course, I've been away, so you and I haven't talked for a long time. It feels like. I feel like what?
Yeah.
Is that 3 weeks? 3 weeks?
And yet we were telepathically connected. You picked exactly the topic I wanted to discuss.
No, but it is part of the journey that we've gone, that we're taking people on in this room, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about techniques, we talked about mindset. So today we're going to talk about analytics and reporting, which almost round. It's not all the marketing topics we need to talk about. But I think that our next topic probably be something about our next series of topics. We have to use LinkedIn, how to get results from LinkedIn. And then I think our list, and I think we'll probably go to entrepreneurship, because this room is for those people who want to escape the 9 to 5, new entrepreneurs. So they're trying to give them all the tools that they need, right?
Yeah.
So it's a journey that we're trying to take people on. Yeah.
But most of the people that are here are on LinkedIn. So, and we're talking about marketing KPIs, right? And those are available. LinkedIn actually has done a good job to make those available for everybody to see. The question is, what does it mean? And how people interpret those and what you do with them. And there are a couple of new analytics reporting, new numbers that LinkedIn has made available. And one is how many people in your network are seeing your content, and how many people outside of your network are seeing your content. It's a percentage in network distribution and out of network distribution. And some people get really upset because they say, "Oh, people in my network are not seeing my content," but perhaps it's an advantage.
Mm,
Perhaps there is, it's a good thing that 40% of your content is discovered outside of your network. Maybe it depends who's in your network and how connected with them you are. So again, it's up to interpretation, and it really depends on how we have set up our businesses and how we approach marketing and what we do with those people that we actually are in contact with. Because if you have 15,000, 10,000 people, that are connected to you, your business is not made and built on those 15,000. It's really probably made out, if you're lucky, 100 people that
mm,
you engage with consistently, if you're lucky. And then, the discoverability outside of your network, it's an opportunity to add an additional person as a client, as a referral partner, and why not, as a collaborator. And
agreed.
sometimes it may limit you if you stay too much within a circle or a group of people. It may actually, limit you, and it might cost revenue to your business because you know who they are, you know what they do, you know that they have never invested with you in 3 years, and sure, someday they might, right? But it's the long game, and you need to pay your bills monthly.
Yeah, yeah. I look. I couldn't agree more.
Hey,
I'm
Jay.
never sure. I'm never sure about LinkedIn, about the platform's numbers, because I think they want something else. They want engagement, which is useful. But I'm sure by the time we finish today, people will get the idea that your numbers are layered. I say that because before I do that, let me welcome Uncle Jay, our storytelling genius. Welcome, Jay. I see you. Thank you so much for giving us your time, my friend. Who else is here? The amazing Jackie is here as well. Jackie, I haven't forgotten you. So we are going to do that show where we talk about relationships, which I think is important. Like it covers marketing and just good ordinary life, right? And running a business. So that's one you definitely want to come to, Christina, right?
Hi, Curtis. Hi, Jackie.
How you, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, my friend. But if you're here, drop us a comment so I can welcome you properly, or we can welcome you properly. Otherwise, we know you. There's someone here. We just don't know who that person is, right? And we want to give you the credit you deserve. Thank you so much for spending your time with us, my friend. I did something. I don't know what I did.
We're
I did
here. We're
something.
back.
Yeah, I did. I think
Stop pushing buttons.
I always push buttons. I'm just trying to give myself better vision, right? Anyway, look. You see, essentially, I'm a marketer. My business started as a marketing agency. I will still do marketing stuff, posts, and write stuff sometimes, create videos, and so on and so forth. All right. See, when I started getting clients in the early days, I remember everyone said the deal was okay. We'll do your posts, we'll do your marketing, and then every month we'll come and sit with you and create a report that shows performance. Now, this is what makes marketing analytics really complicated. What's performance? Performance is what we've achieved in the month, right?
Hmm.
Reach. So, reach. How many people have seen you and seen my clients exist that actually exist? So, and then there's also, of course, engagement. Then you want how many new followers, how many new subscribers, and then you go to how many likes, how many shares, how many comments, right? And
What
then
matters?
Yeah,
What
Christina.
matters? The question is,
That
what
doesn't.
matters?
That, that does not. No, that matters.
None of them
That
matters.
all of that matters if you are looking at it from a from a ladder perspective, right? A layered perspective, where you need people to see you before you can get followers. And you need followers before you can get engagement. And so I can see the point, right? But the reality was that at this monthly meetings, the clients would always wait patiently as I talk through the report and show them the graphs and progress, right? And then it always got to the same point, Christina. The question they would always ask is, how many new clients have we got through your marketing? I wouldn't have a clue. I'm like, I don't know. You're the business. You tell me. How many new customers have you had this month? They're like, well, we've got new customers. It's not through marketing. I'm like, how do you know? Right? And then suddenly the meeting is dead. Once you get to that point where you can't prove you brought revenue, you brought leads, you brought inquiries, we're done. And almost after the first meeting, I knew in a couple of months I'm going to have to let them go. I'm going to have to leave them because we can't carry on with no customers, no new customers that marketing is bringing, right? And so today I'm quite focused, obsessed, driven by number of customers and a number of leads. That's what we're here for, right? Some people will tell you numbers, likes and comments matter. They don't. They really don't. They really don't. But anyway, let me not steal your thunder, Christina, because you are
No,
a
no, no, no.
marketing.
It's okay. That's it. You make some very good points, and every time you make those points, I'm able to continue and expand on it.
By all means, Francesca, welcome,
Hey,
welcome,
oh,
welcome. That's
Francesca from Italy.
excellent, excellent. Welcome. Glad you're here, Francesca. And I said, please do come back. Of course, I haven't seen you before, so great to meet you. Look, my friends, what do you do when it comes to measuring your marketing? What do you measure?
Well, you
How do
measure
you?
the. I measure the number of conversations I have as a result, the number of inquiries, and the response when I'm messaging somebody. So we said that on LinkedIn there are some analytics available, which is great, right? So we can go and look at analytics. We can see how many impressions this week, in the last couple of weeks, 90 days, all the way up to a year. And you have a comparison graph that says this week you're up 15% compared to the previous week in terms of impressions. So technically, you must have done something right or something better than the previous week, either with your content or with you commenting or you exchanging a conversation via DMs or in the comments specifically with someone. And then we have, it measures your how many engagements. So how many likes, how many comments that were made on those posts, and how many people saved your post, and how much time somebody spent on reading that post. Did they save it? That's also measured. That's actually is not a metric that is yet shared, but it does exist, and it's called dwell time. And based on that, actually LinkedIn distributes your content. But that's all great. But unless you're do something with it, see, look at your profile as a result, who's consistently commenting or liking or engaging. Unless you do something with it, it just stays there as what they call vanity metrics. Yes, 1,500 people, 1,500 impressions on this post in just 3 hours. Good enough, right? But did you talk to anyone as a result of it? And that's when we say, okay, what are these key performance index, right? What really matters here? What really matters is who end up and looking at you deeper, who went inside your LinkedIn profile, who decided to look through your older posts and newsletter and maybe comment or engage with more than one of them. So those are the things that we have to pay attention within LinkedIn. I'm just specifically talking about LinkedIn. Those are the little things that we have to pay attention to and act upon it. So what I do when I see that, I will make a note and invite people to a live event or let them know that I have a newsletter or three. Actually, I have three. I have three newsletters and see, maybe that might be of interest to them. But then I also observe what happens. Did they subscribe? Are they actually reading it? Is my email opening rate going up as a result? What does all this mean? All this means only one thing. It happens. Just the other day, I got a DM saying, "Hey, I've been looking at your content and I see your messages. Let's book a call," right? So it happens that people approach you directly. But sometimes, but for the most part, on this platform, you have to be the one that breaks the ice. And breaking the ice doesn't mean sending somebody an automated DM, "This is my product, you want to buy it." It just means, you know, what impact am I making on your life and what you're building because of my content? Really asking the question. Just saying, okay, you're on LinkedIn. What are you building here? You have to get on those conversations because if you don't, it just reports and numbers and spikes because LinkedIn itself is not, I say this very often because my background is in e-commerce and LinkedIn itself is not a shopping cart. Unless you have set it up that way, it's very unlikely that somebody goes on your featured page and clicks and purchase. It's very, very unlikely. Uh, they will, however, if you have engaged in a conversation on or two or three DM exchange, book a phone call with you and take the next steps to discuss what is that you're offering here because most of us here on this platform are offering a service, are offering a solution to a problem, are offering, like Annie is offering a service, helping somebody publishing books, getting their expertise packaged into a book and then promoting that book. That's his service. My service is supporting people with a coaching strategy for their business and their visibility. But none of that happens with one click and let's put it on on a shopping cart and let's buy it. All of it happens through en- personal engagement, not the one that LinkedIn is measuring, but the one that you initiate yourself. However, the more you do this, the more you find yourself in these conversations, either in the comments or in the DMs. You also observe that those metrics on LinkedIn are changing because signals they go both ways. There's the signals that we notice, we perceive, and we act upon, and then it's an algorithm. It is all monitored. LinkedIn knows exactly that you're engaging and that if you're sending connection requests, are people accepting or are they not accepting? That matters. That tells the platform something. It tells them whether people are annoyed with you, whether you're relevant, whether you're sending random connection requests or you're sending connection requests to people that actually want to hear from you. If you have a newsletter and nobody subscribes, well, LinkedIn is going to send less emails. They're going to find it less relevant. If you have a newsletter and people are subscribing, engaging, and liking it, or they're actually opening those emails that LinkedIn is sending on your behalf, and you can see the opening rate right there, well, that actually gives you now more impressions, more visibility because your content is distributed. And the one metric that right now I'm really paying a lot of attention to, and I said this at the beginning of the conversation, is uh, the in network and outside of network distribution. Because you have nothing to do with it. LinkedIn does it. They'll decide whether they're going to show your post or your article, your newsletter to your network or outside of your network. when you see the number outside of your network going up, to me, it symbolizes something really important, something that is both very good, not necessarily bad, but it's something that it's promising to me. And whilst at the same time, I have a lot of the people that I work with and some collaborators say, I spend so much time building my network, having these 20 plus thousand followers. And he's saying here that only, somebody just said it, he said here that only 30% of my network saw my content and the rest was outside of my network. So why do I think this is good? Um, it's good in a way because of where we are headed and where we've been heading for a long time. The reality is that LinkedIn did make this change a couple of years ago. And the change was that they're becoming an interest based platform and they want to show your content to those people that it is relevant to. If you are a veterinarian on your LinkedIn profile and I am posting about I don't know, holistic and healing and motivational things in emotional healing and things like that, it's very unlikely that the veterinarian is going to be shown my content unless they're doing something to signal the platform itself that that's something that they want to see. For example, they might subscribe to a newsletter about that, or they might engage, like, or comment. But if somebody is fairly inactive in their profile, that's the only thing that LinkedIn is going to go by. They're going to look at what their title or headline is, what the skills are, and what their their resume or their positions or past positions were. And based on that, they're going to be sent either employment opportunity or things related to the industry. So it is by our own personal actions that we dictate what we see in our feed. So when my specific content is shown to 70% or 60% of our network, it tells me something. It tells me that people that are in my network, they are not telling LinkedIn that are interested in this particular industry that I'm in. They are engaging with something completely different, or they might be inactive. And at a certain point, we have to keep replenishing this network. We cannot stop at 5,000 followers or 5,000 connections and never connect with somebody new, engage with somebody new, and just hope that those 5,000 people will be our forever supporters, customers, and future clients. Because it doesn't work like that. People lives change, people careers change, people decide not to use LinkedIn anymore, people retire. So it's a good practice to audit the network when we see a number like that, see who's in there. And if we think that it's because only a portion of the content is shown and it's all LinkedIn fault, we're free to think that, and maybe there is some truth in it. But we have to take action. If there is somebody in our network that we haven't seen in a while and we think we want to engage with them because just a year ago they were supporting all our content, then it's that metric tells me, go back, look at some of your previous content when you first started that you thought you believed you had more engagement. Then if it's the case, see who these people were and go look at their profile. Are they active? Are they engaging with anybody else? Do they remember you? I have a lot of people that I engaged with from the time when I was doing audio rooms. And some of them are no longer active on LinkedIn. So I did this thing myself. I went through it. I saw it, what happened to them, the famous Facebook post, what happened to them, right? And some of them, they were viable, still somebody that wanted to engage, to update. So I took the time to, first of all, engage with their live content, their, stuff that they had posted recently or comment on. And then I sent them a personal message. Hey, we met a couple of years ago when you were attending these audio rooms. Oh, yes, I remember. Oh, great! I'm doing a live with Annie today. Here is the link, right? So doesn't have to be a massive body of work that you have to do, but it's just a daily practice to really understand what's key in these metrics and what is the drives the performance, and what index are we looking at, what really ends up converting into, if you're doing a business, you want it to convert into revenue and nothing else. Yeah, having a collaborating is great, right? But let's face it, if you're here as a consultant, solopreneur, running a business, promoting, selling books, anything that you're doing here, the end goal is to find somebody that wants to work with you, that needs one of the solutions that you offer, and have a conversation that feels as natural as possible. Annie was sharing that he started as a marketer. So early day of marketing, it required massive messaging, massive DM, and that worked for a while. Promotion, promotion, promotion. Now people like to consume things differently. So it's the quality of the engagement, the quality of the connection, the quality of the message you send, the context within it is sent that decides if where this relationship is going. Not everybody's going to be a client, that's for sure, but a couple of RSVP from a recent master class that I did ended up being conversations for me. Conversations that are now leading to potential collaborations. And those are valuable too, because potential collaborations means you respect each other, you trust each other, and if the opportunity arises, you refer each other. And that's part of how you do this lead generation, you convert this lead. But if you're tracking the metrics on your dashboard, that's great, and you should definitely act on it. But I invite everybody here on creating something to track your own metrics, to track your own daily marketing actions, and see how those are performing and how those are converting. If you're messaging 5 people that we're meeting here today on this, if I message somebody today that I meet on this live, if I message 5 of them, and one of them says, I would like to find out more, let's book a call, right? To me, that's a great result, because it means that at a minimum, I'm having a conversation where I have an opportunity to explain to talk to somebody about a little bit more in depth about what I do and how I can support. And as an extra bonus, I can tell them all about my referral program, which is a win-win for both of us. So that's pretty much it. Metrics are available on any dashboard. They're available on LinkedIn. They're available on Substack. They're available on Pinterest, probably Facebook. I don't use it that much. But then, what do you do with these numbers? What do they mean? And they don't mean the same thing on, by the way, they don't mean the same thing on every platform. The word impressions is not the same on LinkedIn as it is on Substack. As simple as that. You might get a few extra like on Facebook and Instagram, but they don't have the same weight as you might have on a business platform. And do you want to add anything?
Oh, I'm trying to resist, Christina. I'm trying
Great.
to
No, please.
resist.
No,
I'm trying to
don't resist.
resist.
While you do
Yeah,
that,
okay. I'll try not to be the devil's advocate necessarily. All I can do is share some of my experiences and my thoughts with you, and then let's see how you respond, Christina. All right?
okay.
Rita, thank you so much for joining
It's
us.
so
All the
easy
good
for you to do
material.
when we are 2 worlds apart and separated by screen.
To hurl questions at you? Look, give me a second and I'll start talking. What else do I want to welcome? So Linda, thank you. Always great to see you, my friends. You superstar. Of course, my good friend Lisa, Dr. Lisa is here as well. I'm menopause specialist. Menopause genius. Glad you're here. Right. Oh, okay. let's agree, Christina, that there are some numbers that tell you nothing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad we agree on that. There's the vanity metrics, we call them, right, in marketing.
We
I
do.
think ultimately, look, for me, the first thing is you're showing up. I think we should count our activity on that level, right? And how often do we show up? The one thing I've learned in marketing over the years is that the more you show up, the more people will engage with you. Yeah, but maybe that's a wrong analysis. The more you show up, the more chance you have of building relationships, of having those conversations, right? So
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
showing up consistently, showing up. How often do you show up? Do you show up once a week? When you show up, do you show up, so people can get to see you and get to know you? Or are you just showing up, doing cat posts, doing quote posts? I'm saying there's easy ways to get people to like or comment on your post. That's not always helpful, right? And a lot of people just keep doing the same stuff without thinking, is this really working? Look, you mentioned a number just now, impressions, the bane of my life. Bad joke, right now, really bad joke. Seriously, people need. I think we need to understand that don't. Impressions basically means the chance of people seeing your content on their feed, right? And like you say, it's different for every platform. On Instagram, but on all social media platforms, to be fair, right? People scroll through content, and that counts as an impression. It tells you nothing at all. Did they even look at your content? You don't know. Did they like it? I don't mean like it. Did they click like? I mean, did they get anything out of it? Are they gone away with a better impression of you? A better idea of who you are? I don't think so. Right?
It's not even you. But I calculated that if you get 1,000 impressions, probably 3% or 4% went through and took the time to read a long article.
Wow.
That's what it means.
You heard that number. Three out of 100 took the time to read your post. 3 out of 100. Yet you can have
a longer format article. That's why I like to do my articles where they go sent there somebody's inbox. It is
I'm
terrible.
dying. I tell you now, long form content kills me in posts, especially. I say that for sure. Right?
Not in posts. That's why I do use newsletters.
Right. Okay. Like you say, so you send to their DMs. Look. Let's
I let LinkedIn send. I don't send anything.
Right.
That's what the reason why I use newsletters is because LinkedIn does the work for you.
See, let's come back to another fact. You say 3 out of 100 will read your long form content, right? Do you know that less than 3 out of 100 remember anything in your post that they read?
Exactly. You have to engage in some other way.
If you ask them 10 seconds later, what post have you seen today? They wouldn't remember a word of your post, even if they read it. That's a shocker, right? That's why I don't be posting anymore. I'm just like, no, I can't be bothered, right? No, and I get screamed at by people who are on my side. Apparently, I'm like, whatever. I'm just not doing it. Event posts, yes, because that's a different thing. That's different content, right? Whereas
it has to be a variety.
I agree, but once you start chasing the numbers, the likes, the comments, the reshares, and the reshares. I mean, people share my post. I'm like, you don't even talk to me. I don't know who you are. You don't even come to my event. What do you want? Right? And again, once I ask that question, I know I'm going down the rabbit hole because suddenly, there's nothing in it, Christina. Like, let me tell the story I've got. So, a few years ago, there's a company that used to the platform was basically tracking your website to see who visited to your website, right? Who came to your website at all, right? And they could tell you which company they worked in, which department, and you're like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." They were charging upwards of 3 grand, literally, upwards of 3 grand a month to give you this data. They say, "Oh, big companies are doing it," and that's what they all do. And then when you look at it properly, you think, right, someone called me from City University, as an example, right? 10 people called me from there. How do I know who they are? How do I know who these people are as people? I will never know, right? So you can end up chasing numbers and your analytics and go into holes that bring you nothing at all. That's always my worry. I will say I agree with you when you say it's the conversations you have. You know, that's where I
Yeah,
start to
but
middle and end.
they're there for you to look. I mean, the reality is that the longer for, if you're producing content, right? And content can be live events, because when you do a live, you still have to write a mini description to what the live is about, put a title there, something.
Mm,
And then content can be a short post, which they're probably the least meaningful, meaning in terms of what they end up doing for you. And content can be newsletters. And the value of the newsletters on LinkedIn is that people subscribe, they said, I'm interested, and you have them there for you to slowly engage if appropriate. And then the other value of the newsletter is that uh, based on the relevance of the title that you picked, LinkedIn will send via email that article to either people that subscribe, but also people outside of the network that they think that might be relevant to, right? So that's what happens. Then you might start noticing new people now engaging with your profile, and new people that you don't know, you're not really connected to, or maybe you've been connected to, but you never noticed them before, that are now subscribers. So so they're there in a dashboard for you to see and observe and take action, because you can look at these numbers. Business comes from me out of my service page, surprisingly enough. And business comes to me as a DM. I've been reading your newsletter, or I've been looking at your post. It comes to me that way, but it's not, oh, okay, here's my, point of service. This is the credit card and all that. Doesn't work like that. When I said the business comes the way, is that initial contact
mm.
comes that way. And then you have to, you know, if, for example, if I'm having last night I was having some conversations with some people, I just send them the link to this event, right? Because now they get to hear my voice, they get to see me, me
Yes.
interacting with Annie and all that. Or I can just, give them a resource that I have, and then see if they respond and continue the conversation. Unfortunately, service business leverage through LinkedIn, it's very manual, and it is in building those relationships and doing it good enough work for that one client that they will refer the next client and the next client and the next client. And when you post the review that they left for you, somebody that was thinking, should I work with them? They say, oh, these clients said good things about them. Okay, maybe I'll book a call. That's how it works. It's very long. If you want to expedite the thing, you can make a list of people, and I make lists of people all the time, manual sometimes. You make a list of people and say, okay, I'm planning on engaging with these people. I looked at their profile. I think I can support them. And I'm just going to, first of all, warm up the relationship again. You've been supporting me. Da, da, da. This is a resource. And then after they respond, I might tell them that I have an offer going on, or if that's what they're asking, right? Or I have my referral program going on they might be interested in. And only when they answer. I never go and say to other people, to work with me, this is my Calendly. That, somebody might respond out of luck, right? But that's not the way you do business here. You do business here by strengthening that authority by showing up, like you said. A book can strengthen your authority, a
Yeah.
publication, a newsletter, going live with different people, going to a networking event outside of LinkedIn, and then you find that everybody in the networking event is on LinkedIn and they don't know what to do, surprisingly
Hmm.
enough.
Yeah, I agree with nearly everything you say. Nearly everything.
Nearly. I want
Uh,
to know what you disagree on.
it's all right. Now, I'll get. I don't disagree. It's the things that we need to be wary of. Some of it's in the questions. So I thank you for engaging, my friend. Some people will count the comments in the events, and I'm like, why does that matter? Does that does 100 comments mean it's a good event? Does it mean no? It means nothing. You know,
It can matter,
Bill, it doesn't. It doesn't. I've been there a
depending on
long
what you
time.
say. So, alone doesn't matter, right? Um, but if you actually took the time to listen to the event
Hmm.
and comment something relevant, and then you take that event and decide to do something more with it, talk about it in your own post or a newsletter,
Hmm.
then it matters. Then it
Yeah.
matters because you're referring to something and you're also giving your point of view. Comments themselves in the feed, they matter. But the problem with that is that 90% of them are AI generated comments that are very generic.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
found
Yeah.
that when I comment on somebody's, there is a big creator in a sea of DM generated comments, people say, I saw your content, I saw your comment, and they start having a conversation with me. So that's actually the comments actually are right now, they're kind of hot and they're working, and they think what's being noticed is when you actually take enough time to spit it out yourself the way it comes out naturally. And that's true of the DMs too.
Yeah. No, look, I agree with you there. I want to welcome Mandy. Mandy, where have you been? You've been away for a long, long time. So welcome back, Mandy. I'm genuinely happy you're back. Seriously. Right. Mandy says curious about what these vanity metrics you mentioned are. See, vanity metrics are basically numbers that look good on paper, and they make you look good, but they mean nothing. They tell you nothing about intent, nothing about interest, nothing about genuine, you know, someone who might be your customer one day, right?
I can
No,
elaborate a little more if you want.
yeah, feel free, feel
So there are two or three types of content creators on LinkedIn. And some of them, they put out content that do generate a lot of traffic. And it definitely supports them in, growing their account, growing how big their audience is, etc., etc. But you'll see people engaging with, I call it click and bait posts, that are saying add up these numbers, and if you guess what the number is, you're super super smart, and everybody starts guessing things, and it's clickbait. So all of a sudden those metrics are going and are very much inflated, but they don't symbolize anything in terms of doing business with somebody and connecting. And that person might be on the platform where where business is the last thing on their mind. They have a regular job and they're just posting for fun, and they're just reposting stuff. So you'll see those metrics going up. And for the longest time, as either content creators that are creating for the purpose of promoting personal branding and business, and people that were actually sitting there, uh, looking to get noticed for their expertise while they were looking for the next career opportunity. We were just wondering, how come somebody posts the picture of a cat on a dog or a monkey or a parrot on my shoulder, and all of a sudden, all these impressions, all these
A
likes.
baby always goes well. A baby will always get likes and ooh comments, pointless comments. But see, Mandy,
Yeah,
look, there's many things that they give us
I
that
can do that. I'm pretty sure get a parrot on my head. I know I'm gonna get a tons of impressions.
one of my son's friends was doing that, and he had not look pigeons, right? Racing
Yeah,
pigeons walking around with Gary on his shoulder, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're 17 and you're walking around with a pigeon on your shoulder. And if they had pigeons, obviously they were living in his house and they were messing up everything, so the pigeons had to go. Anyway, don't be a bird, man. It doesn't help you, right? I'm saying,
yeah.
but people might be go on, go on, Christina.
The other one, it could be, okay, you're on LinkedIn, you're starting out, and you're meeting a group of people that just like you are starting out. There is nothing wrong with it,
Mm.
but you created a community that now is going and liking and chit chatting on each other's content, right? We all do that. If I see something from any, if one day decides to post, I'll probably say like and comment, right?
Yeah,
uh, uh, just for support. But
yeah, yeah. I
it's
don't need
it's
support. I
it
need
looks
customers.
good. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be a huge number. 40 people like my
Mm,
post today. It looks
mm.
okay. I feel good about it. But if you look, it's Annie, it's my friend Leah, it's my other friend John, it's my other friend Peter. It's great, but at this particular moment, none of them will do business with me. Now, it is a very strong possibility that because they liked something that I said, somebody that is connected with them might say, I was looking for somebody like that. Let me contact John and ask them about this Christina that wrote this thing. But it's very slow burn. What you want to do when you create, if you're doing this to promote your business and your personal brand, when you're creating any type of content, don't think how many likes. Maybe it's 3 today, maybe it's 5, who cares? But think,
Yeah.
just write it for the person that is meant to. Because even if it's one person and they are running around and they don't want to click anything, they'll remember, and then they'll go ahead and contact you, or remember to go look you up the next day and do something else with you. So that's the thing. So there is also there is a metric that nobody knows. We only know that it's measured internally through dwell time, how much time people are spending on a specific post. We don't know. We call them lurkers, people that are just observant, silently reading and just trying to make up their mind on what they want to do next if they need to learn
Just
from you.
information seekers, we call them, right?
Exa-
Lurkers,
yeah, or
indeed.
it could be somebody that is trying to figure it out. I mean, I had many lurkers that became my clients. One day
That
out of the blue, they
right.
contacted me and
Oh,
said, I like this. And I didn't say, okay, thank you. No, I said, oh, really? What did you like? So I engaged in a conversation.
right.
Otherwise they'll just say, I really like it. And you'll say, okay, thank you. Thank you
Hold
doesn't
on,
doesn't
hold
go to
on,
the
hold
next
on,
level.
hold on. Let's give Mandy the answer. That's a clear answer. Mandy, look, impressions means nothing. When you turn your LinkedIn, the first thing you see is your impressions this week, right? They gives you 1,000, 10,000. It means nothing, and because impressions basically, like we said earlier, it just means that you're on someone's feed, and they might have scrolled to your content and stopped, or they might just scroll straight past. So vanity metric, Mandy, that tells you nothing, right? Likes tells you nothing. How many likes you get, it gives you nothing about how whether that person is ever going to be a customer, even interested in you at all, even interested in your posts. As Christina said, your friends who tend to engage, they would most will comment on a good day, right? But you learn nothing from that whatsoever. Of course, reposts. Look, maybe our world is saturated with ideas and strategies. So like everyone's learned that if you want to get someone's attention, comment and engage with a post, right? Even repost a post, even though you're not interested in anything that they ever do, right? Literally, I get people commenting on my post, and I'm just like, don't know you, don't want to know you either. Thanks, move on, right? Look, I think those basic numbers, man, they make you look good. I got 100 likes, yeah. If I want to get 100 likes, I would just do a post about my illness, whatever my illness may be. I haven't got one. I can make one up, right? No, otherwise I do a post about my
It's
cat.
sad but true.
This is the problem that we have. So vanity
It's sad
metrics are
but
just
true.
they're just numbers. Ultimately, as Jay says, I know one of them, Jay. I don't know what the other ones are. Don't chase vanity metrics. Chase the meaningful numbers. As Christina says, there's many meaningful numbers that we can chase, right? Dwell time on content. That's important. How far down people read your content. That's important. The fact that someone from X global company looked at my profile, he doesn't tell me a thing, man. There's not a single thing, because that could be anyone, and more often than not, it's marketers who want to sell you something, right? So don't fall for that. Don't be. What the platforms want you to do is to chase up who's that person. Oh, who's that person? I'm not going to see who it is, and and then what are you going to do? Contact them, and you find you probably won't even get a response. They clicked on your profile, a big number by accident. Literally, they want to click something and they clicked on your profile, and suddenly they show up on maybe they're looking for a date or an event or something. I'm saying they're looking for something, right? And maybe they're just marketers who are trying to find people who do what you do, not to buy from you, but to sell to you. I'm saying be very careful with data, which numbers you go for. Jay talks about return on investment, ROI. Yeah, that's important, right? I mean, would you know how to calculate your ROI for your marketing? Think about it. How much time do you spend on your marketing activities?
Time.
I tell you, seriously, a post takes longer than you think. What would make it worth your while? I'm saying I'm not going to give you an answer. There is no answer on my part. The only answer I can give you is conversations, inquiries, conversions, people actually buy from you, and referrals. You say collaborators as well, Christina. I agree with you on all of that, right? Now, things that bring revenue is what a return on investment is, right? Those are what we should be looking for and working towards. But because of the complication, which I acknowledge wholeheartedly, is that you can't get ROI without the vanity stuff. Just don't focus on the vanities. If you don't show up, if you don't get anyone to follow you, don't get anyone to engage with your content, then you're not gonna get the ROI. If you do, it'll be once in a blue moon, right? It'll be almost by accident. That's not how it works. Think of a funnel. I was talking to funnel. Christina always looks at me funny when I talk about funnels, right? But she wants to talk about architecture. As she does. I just find that way too quirky,
Structured.
right?
Let's say it's just structure.
It's a funnel, right? You want to get people to know you exist, awareness. You want them to be interested in what you do, and then from there you can give them more information as necessary, right? Then you can give them more content. Then you can give them more, right? But the aim is then to work towards conversion. If people never buy from you, I don't know what you're gonna do. Yeah, you're not gonna have a business for a long time, right? So that's why I'm so focused on people come to me to get more customers. They want to sell more. Facts, right? And Christina, don't look like that. They really do. Even my author friends, I'm very, very explicit about what I want to do for them. I know the numbers I need to achieve. So if my author friends, for example, and maybe in all marketing, Christina, we can do stuff and just keep doing stuff, keep doing activity, right? But I think ultimately this conversation, which leads to the ROI Jay is talking about, it requires understanding your customers' needs explicitly. Understand what do your customers really want? What are they looking for? Right? I say that because I think all of us have to provide solutions, as you said, Christina, right? We're here for a reason. Customers come to us for a reason, to solve a problem. They don't come to us, just to hang out and to to chill online, right? They come to us because they want a service to solve a problem. The more you understand that problem, the more you can design a service and offer that solves that problem for them. Now, many people don't really design offers that help people. Sounds harsh to say. I'm saying, design a service that really works for people, and then you can really start looking at, are they buying the service I designed for them? Is it working for them? That's the reports I want to look at. For my author friends, for example, I always say you need to know the X factor for your clients, right? Let me give you an example. There's web designers out there, many, tour pennies, many of them, right? And they'll tell you, I can design a website that's going to help you sell more. You're like, really? How? Right? Oh, I can get you. I can show you all these visitors I'm going to get you. How many of them actually buy? Hmm. Yeah. Like none. I don't want to be that sort of marketer. When I have authors, I want to sell 5,000 books minimum for each author, for each book. So that's a number I want to chase. That's a number I'm always obsessed by chasing, measuring. Almost everything else between here and there is it's not all redundant, but I'm not going to obsess over how many posts we've done this week. I'm not obsessed about what are the likes, what are the reactions. I will obsess over how many conversations is my client having, how many new followers who want to buy their book have they connected with. And I, I would say I think it's knowing the point of your numbers. So like you said at the beginning, Christina, right? You need to know the point numbers you're looking at and how you're going to interpret it. Don't just fall for any number and think that's a good thing. That's not how it works. Please, Christina, feel free.
Yeah. At the same time, if somebody is starting out, right, I
Mm.
definitely do not want to discourage them from posting and creating, because sometimes it's how we figure out things. So I create content, and I create content because I actually enjoy creating content. But
Mm.
for me personally, it also helps me staying focused on a particular topic. So to me, these, not necessarily the impressions, but the other metrics that LinkedIn provides, only shift and go up and down when I stay focused on the topic. So you might start with a post, and then that post I elaborate it and it becomes a newsletter article. And then it becomes, for a period of 3 weeks, something else on another platform. And then I end up going live with you, and here I am talking about it again, right? So I know I'm creating, and I don't have a metric to measure it yet on the platform. I know I'm creating context. I know those impressions, when I'm doing those things, they're going up a little bit. I don't know though whose footprints they are. I cannot connect with those people unless they looked at my profile and they actually signaled something by subscribing or something like that. But I created because if somebody's starting out here, you should create this content, because before you publish a book, this might be your only form of authority. Somebody decides to check you out on your profile, they pretty much can figure it out what are the topics that you are discussing. And LinkedIn is still number two most cited platform uh, by Google and AI. So chances are your content is surfacing somewhere, and if you put out enough stuff out there without killing yourself, without chasing it, over time, and my clients reach this within 90 days, they, all of a sudden their name is associated with their industry and the subject matter. So it matters, but again, it's not the transaction. It matters because I can talk to somebody. I can just say, just Google me up, and that's how you get my details if I'm in a rush, right? So it matters from that point of view, and it matters because in the end, you might decide to take all the body of work and package it into a course or a book, and at the same time, you spend time building your personal brand. Personal brand, if somebody looks you up and they find nothing, that's your personal brand. If somebody looks you up and they find you on Facebook getting drunk at a barbecue, that's your personal brand. If somebody looks you up and about, you know, AI discoverability, content discoverability, building a business, the foundations, and now it starts, that's your personal brand. So, but when it comes time to monetize it all, you have to spend less time focusing on how many impressions did I get today and more time focusing on whatever works for your business. It might be outreach, it might be going on another platform and engaging with a couple of creators, it might be going to a networking event, and it might be after an event putting a link to your how to connect with you. So those are your day writing articles, creating posts. If that's what you're doing, no. If you can dedicate a specific day to all of your creation, or maybe you like to write in the evening and you have it there ready to post to keep raising awareness about yourself and your personal brand, that's great. But if you decide to be a coach of any specifically if you decide to be a coach of any specific subject matter or a consultant in any specific subject matter, then what you have to do is coach and consult, and you can only do that by teaching, going to a live event, giving somebody a useful tip, and talking to other peers and see who they know that you should know. That's it. You're up, Penny.
I thought I fell off the internet for a second. Mandy, I will definitely come to your comment today. I see it, so give me a second. Where am I? I need to scroll back up first. So let me see what. When I scroll back up on my laptop, something funny happens. I don't know what it is. It's not funny, haha. It's funny, peculiar. Anyway, so I'm trying.
Yeah. Do you want me to answer this comment, Annie?
Yeah. One second. So now you read the comments while you're there, right? Joshua Lee, how you doing? I haven't seen you for a while. Glad you're here. Of course, I know you do your shows. If you want to attend more shows, connect with Joshua and go to his shows. He does all sorts, network, block party, and some marketing related topics that he talks about while he's there, right? Also, I see Victor. How you doing, Victor? Welcome. I know it's late, of course. And it's going towards, it's half 11, 20 past 11, right? So I know it's night time, but I'm glad you're here. Mandy, no, this probably is where we're gonna leave it today, right? Right.
Yeah, I can respond if you want.
Okay. So Mandy is saying basically anything social media adjacent is vanity metric. Not true, Mandy. Not true. No. Some of it can be the building blocks that lead to conversion because engagement. Unless people see your content, unless people start engaging in your content, like Christina said, to show the algorithms that they like your content, it is helping them. The chance of them going to next level and getting to know you, like you, see you, and all that stuff is pretty much none, right? I will say events are the godsend of all marketing, right? Everything we say today, take it with a pinch of salt. If you really want to convert people quickly in your new business, show up. Find a way to show up. Events have changed the game for me anyway, right? For years, I was posting every day. Now I don't post at all, and I still get customers because people see me. Once they see me, they know me. Even if you like me, you don't, right? And those who like you want to get to know you more. I say events are the godsend, but you know, but the mechanism is straightforward. How you operationalize and convert or at least monetize from events.
Well, I'm somebody that operationalizes conversion.
Go for it.
And,
Tell us how you do it.
maybe it's because uh, it's a small percentage of people that look at an event and come to me directly without me doing the legwork. Or maybe it's because I worked in e-commerce, where e-commerce and marketing were pretty much, they were supposed to be, brothers and sisters, but in the organization where I worked, they were two worlds apart. And so I made it my business that these two functions of the same business, and I have to treat them as such. So if we discuss it specifically within social media, each social media has the metrics. And on LinkedIn, we discussed impressions means the scroll through. That's it. So it's good if more people see it because it means more people scroll through. Maybe it's more LinkedIn distributed it to more people that thought it was relevant to, but you don't know who they are. And that's the thing. Now, when people engage, you know their name. You can engage back. You can invite them to something, and then you can, if you want to operationalize it, you can track that yourself. You create a marketing pipeline. You decide, you look at somebody that engaged, you look at their profile, you decide it's a fit for what you do. And if you think it's a fit for what you do, it is worth your time to send a personalized message, introduce yourself, whatever you do, and put it on a list, and then see if they respond, and the conversation go from there. If they don't respond, you might send a second message, but then that's it. I never go on the third because it just means there was no interest, unless they never responded, but they keep engaging, and then I'll try to do something else with them, give a resource or something else. But not that I'm going to spend, again, it's about, I'm not going to spend enough too much time on it because I'm thinking revenue. So that's pretty much it. So it's building that pipeline, but that pipeline is a list of people. It doesn't necessarily mean all potential client. If you take enough time to look at a profile, it could be somebody that, like you, is relationship focused, or that I don't know exactly what you do because I haven't clicked on your profile. But it could be somebody that is very similar to you, that is already engaging in promotional activity, and you might like to collaborate with. For example, Annie and I are diverse and similar in a way. But when we do an event together, we pick a topic that we both have some expertise and different point of view. So that's now when you have a live event, like Annie said, now that's how many times people viewed it after it was here and on YouTube, or how many people commented and what they said, what they were interested in. That's a metric that you can look at, and those are some things you can take some actions on. Doesn't mean that I'm going to email everybody on this event and say, hey, this is how much it costs to work with me. But it just, I might want to know a little bit more about you and, go from there. And you might be interested in, doing getting some advice or something like that. So that's how it is. I operationalize in that way. So I might meet somebody because they just did a thumb up, right? And then I realized we are connected. So I might remind them that I have a resource. Then if I see them keep coming back, at this point, we have to have a conversation. In the end, it's about having a conversation. Like Annie said, it's about showing up. But if you have to choose between showing up by posting every day and showing up by going live, I would say, well, go live and then post about the live, right? But my favorite thing is to do a mix. I do the newsletter, I collaborate on lives with my LinkedIn friends. I'll post because sometimes I just like to do it. And I meet people. This morning before this event, I had 4 calls. And, I'm hoping that one of those is going to convert. But you don't live on open prayer, though. It is a math. When you have calls with somebody because of a subject that you discussed or something that got their attention, that's another metric that you can track. But again, you have to track it yourself. If this week I have 20 calls and 3 of them convert in one of my major offers, I'm pretty happy. But if I have 20 calls and I have zero conversion or not a second call created by those calls, associated with the person, then it means, they're just get to know calls and I'm just making friends, which is great, but it's not operationally great for my business.
Of
So in the
course,
end, when you meet people, you have to tell them what you do and what you're looking to do, what you're here for. And if it's not them, somebody. So it needs to be a give and take relationship.
truly, no, look, of course, I think you're right in that it is the conversations you have that's where I'm stuck. That's where I ultimately stay. Right, conversations, inquiries, conversions.
You have to fill the
That's
calendar. The calendar needs to get filled. The calls
yes,
need to come in and they need to go somewhere.
yes. Look, again, I also agree with you that we have to have a presence and tell our stories, right? No, it's not just telling your stories. It's about speaking the language of your customers, talking about what they're talking about, talking about what they're interested in. What's the problems they're trying to solve, right? To speak to this, when you start a business, I mean, you have to do posts that show that you have an interest and understanding of a group of people who have a certain need. No, so I don't think don't obsess about the numbers of those posts that you do, right? Because in the early days, chances are you got fewer connections than you're gonna get in the end, right? With time, your friends will grow, and almost anything you post is gonna get more likes, more engagement. Almost I say, but, I speak as someone who does events every day. This is my third event today, right? So I'm in a different place to other people who done the event at all. If you done the event at all, then you want to be talking to Christina and saying, right, Christina, how do I use content? Because you have to show up somehow. If you don't show up, if no one sees you, they can't, they don't know you, they can't buy from you, right? They just won't. So this first thing is show up and then speak your truth. You know, not always advertising your services. Speak your truth. Speak your understanding of the problem that people have, right?
I would like to,
And
Annie, before we close, I kind of wanted to respond to Rita very
Rita as
quickly.
well. Yeah, no, that's where we're going next, my friend. That's where we're going. It's all yours.
Then we
Feel free.
close. So, um, your personal posts, my customer
Yeah,
support posts, get for, yeah. So your general posts get more likes customer support, 4 to 5 likes. All right. So this is a very long conversation, but in a nutshell, who's in your network first? So we have to clean up those people that are connected to you. Are they people that are posting about customer support? Are they posting about expanding their company, growing their business? And so they're really actively seeking, your whatever you post in your post, your tips, your advice, you and the solution that you provided to your latest client or company. So that's what we have to do. We have to, first of all, before we post anything, actively connected to those that we think will read and benefit from it. And then if it's a new connection and you think they should read your post, just send it to them. Literally, send it to them. I thought this might be of interest to you. There is a little send arrow underneath your post, and you can do that. And it's good to do a personal story. I do personal stories, here and there. I had the fun one a few months ago where I posted a picture of myself when I was 22, and then he told me about when he was 22. But he didn't post his picture, but somebody else posted their pictures when they were younger, right? So that's good because it just shows you your humanity, but the balance has to be right.
Yeah, I think, of course, I agree with you. It is it's a hard leap, and going from general posts, as you call it, Rita, to what a business focused post, now more business, now more serious content. People are so lazy. They don't want to read anything serious. They rather look at the cat pictures, like it, and then move on very quickly, right? They're almost on autopilot. Again, what I would say is keep posting, content that you think will help your clients, right? I would almost be happier with 4 to 5 likes from people who have got benefits from my content than 100 likes from those who got benefit from seeing my cats and my dogs.
I had a post with 3 likes and one of them converted.
There you go.
But it was
Some
because
people,
it was very specific. It was specifically about my offer, and people tend to read and not want to engage with those because then they think, "Oh, Christina is going to email me next," right? It
yeah,
happens.
yeah,
But those that actually, one of those people that engage, I didn't go and email all of them. There were only 3, but I looked at the 3 profiles and I said, "Huh, this person actually, I can help them," right? So I didn't say I can help you. I pointed them towards a resource and continue the conversation. Converted. So that's the thing, and it came from that. So another metric, Mandy, that you can track.
yeah.
Whatever you're doing, did it convert? What did you do right? Right?
Mm,
I had one of my major clients right now came from my newsletter, and it was simply me saying, "Thank you for subscribing. I see that you are in this field. What are you doing right now? Are you looking for this or that?" And they replied and they said, I just booked an appointment. Like, great, right? And then it was not even them. They referred me to their friend, and their friend became a client. So that's how things happen, right? And you have to think. So I know that the message that I sent was plain and simple, worked, and it's a metric that I have, and I'm repeating it.
yeah. No, again, look, no, we're not saying chase the numbers. Like Christina and I, we agree at best of times that we're marketers, right? And we're both honest marketers. So we've got different perspectives and different approaches to marketing, but we don't really. We just like to be. I like to be contrary because I'm easily annoyed by many things in life.
I'm doing an homage. Did you see my background today?
Yeah. So what's that?
That's an homage to Cornwall.
Is it?
Yes, that's an AI design that I generated inspired by the Virginia Woolf book To the Lighthouse, based in Cornwall. And there is the symbol, the metaphor of the brown stocking and the lighthouse and the Cornish coast.
I live in Cornwall, by the way, my friend, because
I know, that's why I said
you
I'm
know
doing an
that
homage to
we
you.
know that, right? They don't, right? Look, I guess you mentioned the lurkers earlier. I think one thing to understand is that many people who are interested in your content may have the problems you want to solve. They would not say a word for a long time. Even these events, people come, they sit in the they just sit there. They won't even say hi in the comments, right? My point is, don't be disheartened when you think no one's seen your post. When you think no one cares. But no, especially when you're starting off, right? Christina mentioned that the lurkers are there. There are people who are looking at you, and we've all had it. People come to us and go, "I've been looking at you for the last 3 years, for the last 3 months," and you think, "Have you? You haven't said a word." And no, they won't say a word, right? They'll see your posts, they get to know you more, and they get to know how you help more. One day they'll have enough trust in you to say, "Right, let's talk." Maybe you have to initiate that conversation, right? Eventually, one day they will come out of the woodwork. So never be disheartened if the numbers don't show those vanity metrics. Just stay on the path of. I think that isn't it 20% business content and 80% of other content, right? A content calendar, like say, it's not the same thing every time. It's not just you can't just keep blasting them with adverts. You just can't, right? It doesn't work like that because then they'll just switch off. No one's going to be interested in the end. Anyway, if you can vary your content, one day you post maybe what inspires you, another day you post a day in your business or what interests you. Are you with me? I'm saying that you need to have content variety, but every so often post your business content, whether it's your offer, whether it's a testimonial, whether it's. I had a meeting today in IRL, in real life, in other words, right? I made a short video and I took a selfie because I haven't been out to for a meeting for years, literally years since COVID, right? When I quit my network, I was like, so I can't be doing this anymore. So I'll post that because that just breaks up my content from just all my events that I do. But whoever you are, give yourself a chance. Get to know people. That's the game. That's the real numbers account. But if you don't show, if you have no content, no content, you don't exist. If you have content, then there are different metrics you can look at to measure interest. I'll say again, as Christina said, if you convert 1 out of 4, you're doing okay. Imagine if you can increase that to 2 out of 4. So the best businesses will convert 40%, 20, 30%, 3 out of 10 is a good number for the best businesses. So don't beat yourself up when the numbers don't show that you're converting 100%. That everyone loves your posts, everyone loves your content, everyone reads 100% of your reads everything. No, they won't. So but you can build on what you create. Now you can look at the numbers and see, okay, what can I improve on? But above all, why don't you ask the people who are looking at your content what they think? I say, genuinely, be brave enough to ask people, is this helpful?
I do. I do that.
Right.
That's my
Yeah,
that's my thing. They engaged 3 or 4 times, and I thanked them and I said, I would like some feedback. What impact am I making? I do that, and it starts a conversation with the right people because some people will. So people that don't have any desire to have the conversation, they won't respond, and that's okay. But the one person that it's friendly, at a minimum can be a referral partner, will respond.
yeah. Again, just talking to our customers is such a big part of doing good marketing, and it's what I can't do for you. It's what Christian, I can't do that for you either. We can guide you, but at the heart of maybe at the heart of any marketing conversation is what's in your heart. If you approach business with the aim to help people, then reaching out is not such a chore, right? If I'm here to help authors, then reaching out to someone and say, right, you know, let's talk about your book. Let's talk about the book you want to write, the book you've written. Let's talk about what you're struggling with, even what's going well for you, right? And I say, but if all we're trying to do is sell, 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 we get nervous about reaching out to people because we think they're going to see us as spammers, right? Whereas having your heart, the customer and their needs and the solution that you offer, marketing works very well from that perspective. Christina, we do have to go, right? Our time is up.
Yeah, we do have to go, but I want to close it with one thing.
Please feel free. It's all
Just
yours.
based on what you said, we talk about metrics in network, out of network, right? Uh, is one better than another? They're both good, but it's up to you if you make them good or bad. Meaning, if you meet somebody at an event, like today I met a couple of people that they might be connected with me or not, but I definitely have not spoken to. If I'm not connected with them, I will connect. I want them in my network. They were here today, right? If they're here and we haven't spoken, I will just send polite thank you. Uh, you know, Maybe you will respond, maybe you won't respond. That's okay, right? But I I'm actively curating who's on my connection list, who's on my network, and I do business here. I will invite people to lives. I will tell you about my latest post, something that might be of support. All that any of us business owners, and you are a business owner too, for the most part on this talk conversation today. All that we want is that whatever we're posting as making an impact, it has some use, you're recognizing it, you're giving and sharing your opinion, and if the time is right, you recognize the expertise and you take the next steps. That's true of me, of anybody here doing business. So when you engage with somebody else, treat them the way you would like to be treated.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Don't keep somebody hanging. If you're not at a stage where you're gonna be doing something, just say this is not the right time for me. That's it. It's a polite response. It doesn't mean I'm cutting you out now. Let's disconnect, right? That's not what it is. It just means, you know, having somebody not wondering if after 5 or 6 messages this is gonna happen or not. And I don't do that because I've been through so many no's. I'm now used to it. But for somebody that is new to this, getting their first clients, it can be demoralizing. I know that I had some clients working with me that the first clients didn't work out, and their outreach got several rejections at first, and they almost gave up. But I encourage them to create the spreadsheet and the pipeline and measure those response, those actions that you're taking, because when that one converts, you can go back and say, this is what I did. Go figure, right? Let me do it again.
That's so true, right? I think as you're talking, Christina, suddenly, I guess I realize. See, I think part of the trick, when you're going to look at your numbers, is to be in the right place, talking to the right people. The numbers only make sense when you're talking to the right people. That's when you can learn something new, right? And some platforms are not for you. You might like it, and so the TikTok is only for a few. Trust me, right? I'm not.
Yeah, sometimes when you might be doing something wrong too.
Yeah,
Something. I can share something that I do with you, and sometimes I do with other people. We've been piloting master classes,
yeah.
right? And at least I found that I had a much harder time promoting a master class that was between $50 and $75 than promoting my services that are between 500 and
Mm, mm,
$5,000. It's you've seen it. Like the
yeah.
people that sign up, the number is really small, and you get a lot of people RSVPing, and then nobody purchasing the masterclass, which is not like an event. It's a mini webinar with a lot more information and a lot more like an interactive experience, like a mini coaching session. But again, so I don't know what it was, right? It's probably because this might not be the exact perfect platform for it yet, or people are used to the events being something and a masterclass being something else, maybe not using the event link. But sometimes we have to recognize where when again doing the same thing not working, well, like you were saying at the beginning, right? So maybe we have to pivot a little bit there and figuring out what needs to change to make it either more appealing or to make it clear what it is, and maybe the promotion needs to be done outside of the platform, and why not? Because I have some other folks that I know doing something similar completely outside of the platform and promoting it through Eventbrite and Alignable, and to their surprise, they had a higher attendance. So it is only by testing things and piloting things, right, that you realize this works for me here, but this it might work, but not the way I'm doing it. I need to do something else.
On the master classes, no, we need to go back to doing them. But I think our topic choice is important. I've got a
Hmm.
mind to rerun the first one that worked for us. This is using your numbers, right? The first one, you make 10, how you make 10K a month. Because I believe more in the takeaways for the attendees, right? Like, because we show them how to make 10K a month. That's actually good.
Yeah,
That's
that was
what,
a summer success
right. I'm
story.
saying so that one. I said let's run that again, maybe in September, so we have a longer runway to actually make it work, right? No, but look, keep trying different things. I agree with you on that one. Victor, Mr. Obi, look, all live events are recorded, right? So please, you got here somehow. Just go back to the link and just click on the link. The video should play straightforwardly, right? Thank you so much, everyone. Rita, everyone's thanking you, Christina. So thank you, and Christina. Professor Roxana, I saw you as well. Thank you so much, everyone. Mandy, I'm so glad you're here, and I can't thank you enough. Well, everyone's giving us your time. Thank you so much. So we're back here again in a couple of weeks' time. Meanwhile, I've got book launches. So part of the masterclass, I'm saying let's run again, is realizing that there's different streams of income. It's not just one stream. It's not just your service, whatever that may be, or your product. There's many ways to make money in this platform. And it's by working out what's a low entry point for people and what's your top service, which makes you the real money, right? But look, connect with us if we haven't connected already. And if we haven't spoken, let's talk. Let's talk. Christina, I'm up for talking. Christina is not so keen unless she knows that you are starting the business, escaping the 9 to 5. Well, that's life, right? But thank you so much.
I love how you do the intro commercial. Anybody wants to connect, just DM me.
Connect with me. I
Okay,
want to
fine.
connect with you, right? Connect with Christina as well. Like if you can benefit from what she does, she doesn't mind meeting. Wants to meet with you. She doesn't just do casual coffee chats for the sake of coffee chats. That's my point, right? Can we agree on that, Christina?
Well, I want to be able to talk about your business. I want the conversation to be in context and to be okay. What are you building? Uh, the reason why I have to say this at every event is it's about ROI, right? Respecting everybody's time.
Yeah.
If the conversation is just to talk about where I live and where you live, that's great, right? But we can do that in a DM, some kind words. Uh, a calendar is there to be filled, and what I teach people is how to fill it so that it doesn't drain your energy. And after you walk away from a conversation, it doesn't mean that the conversation has to monetize immediately, but you know that the conversation was about what you're doing and what you're building, and something will happen after it. It could be a referral, could be a collaboration, could be somebody supporting your content, or it could be that 3 months from now you decide to invest. So that's I do it for me, but I do it for my clients too, and that's how you should look at business.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only thing you missed out there is, can you help me? I said, no, I'm always keen to expose and help me, because there's no point having a network of people that you don't know what they actually do. I'm a big believer in using that network as the people we go to when we need something. Look, my friends, you enjoy your nights. Now, my tech has worked all right, so I can live with it, so it's all right. Now, Christina, enjoy your evening.
I
I know
will.
you and I were talking 6 hours time when everyone else is asleep. That's what we do, right? Anyway, look, thank you so much. Thank you for for sharing your genius with us. My friends, you enjoy yourself as well. I appreciate your time, but enjoy your evening. If we can help, don't be shy. Don't be shy. And I'll leave you with this. One of my great measures of success, the numbers, is repeats. The more you come to my events, the more I know you really care. The more I guess the more we talk, the more I know that you're interested in what we do. The more you buy from me, I say repeat customers, how you build a business, really. I'm saying work on repeats. Right? That's what I do for a living. Christina, I say goodbye. I'm going to press the end button. Bye bye. Bye bye.
And he sees you. He sees you. He sees you. From the children with no voice in borrowed rooms, to the magazines that carry their truth. 25 years of the same steady hand, finding the ones who fell through the cracks of the plan. From Mitchum